Yo, 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 what up, what up, what up, what up, what's happening? Back with another episode, Crypto Squid Games. Lord, we thank you for the day, love, mercy, grace, and all you do for us. Direct our path and guide our steps to this overabundance of wealth that we all searching for, this freedom of time. We get our time back, all the great blessings that you got for us. We rebuke all negativity and pray that you guide us and block and protect us from all the evil that's out here in the world that's going on. Second off, this is not a financial advice channel. We're not financial advisors. Don't put no personal information in the comments. It will be deleted. It will be reported because, you know what I mean, we ain't trying to get our channel taken down by your foolishness. And, you know what I mean, somebody contact you from here saying that they're part of this group, asking for anything, trying to get you to click a link, anything, that ain't us, because we don't rock like that. Let's get into it.
Yep. And I can generate our financial statement.
The first contact came through a message on Twitter.
Asking me about some questions related to my research. Just like, casual conversation. That's how it started.
Soon the woman's chats with the man we're calling John, a highly educated cancer researcher, turned to investing in cryptocurrencies. He asked us to disguise his identity.
As a scientist, as a PhD, you're naturally curious, and especially when you talk about how much money you can make, got sort of hooked.
Urged on by his new friend, John began wiring.
And see, that's how they do. The folk contact you. You know what I mean? That's the first thing. Like I say, we don't rock like that. Ain't nobody contacting you about nothing. You know what I mean? I'm not a financial advisor, so yeah, it's scams all over.
Money to a website that looked identical to a real-life online investing platform, and it seemed like he was making a fortune. But when he was unable to withdraw a large sum, he realized that something was wrong.
At that point, how much had you invested?
More than half a million, about $560,000.
Wow. And what portion of your...
And these folks out here hitting licks. Like, that's crazy. Over $500,000 you don't wire to these folk? Man.
wealth did that represent?
So it's everything I have.
John was one of the latest victims in a sophisticated online scam known as pig butchering, which comes from a Chinese term for fattening a hog for slaughter. The gangs that carry out this scheme are largely based overseas, mainly in Southeast Asia. The FBI says Americans have lost billions of dollars to these cons.
And we done heard about pig butchering on one of the other previous videos. If you ain't seen that video, go check back through the videos and check it out.
And usually the money is unrecoverable. But tonight, the Justice Department is announcing the seizure of more than $100 million stolen in pig butchering scams, possibly including some of John's money. It's the first seizure of its kind, the result of a new focus by federal authorities on tracking cryptocurrency.
We figured out where these accounts were and that there was funds from victims that went through various stops to get to these accounts, and then we seized the accounts from the institutions where they were being held.
Young Choi directs the Justice Department's Crypto Enforcement Unit. She says the DOJ has learned how to use sophisticated software to track ill-gotten crypto and then grab it.
That's a bad day.
Yeah, see, them folks could follow all that stuff, you know what I mean? And that's a good thing. But you gotta know, they gotta know about it. You know, all these folk don't know about how to really follow that, you know what I mean? So sometimes a lot of people just be at a loss. But it's good you got people out here fighting for folks to try to recover their funds because there's too much scamming going on.
Day for the crooks.
It is a bad day for the crooks. We think we're raising the cost of their doing business in this manner and preying on the United States public.
Another victim we're calling Eugene, also a scientist, was lured into the con by a real person, someone he knew from graduate school. The scammers strung him along slowly, showing statements with huge gains, even letting him withdraw thousands of dollars. He and his wife quit their jobs, liquidated their retirement funds, and borrowed from friends, eventually forking over more than $5.2 million.
That's all my saving, all my life.
Now you don't want to got other people involved in the scam, and that's another thing about these crypto squid games. You got to really, you know what I mean? It's hard, I say, to say this, but you know, at the end of the day, yeah, you can't be bringing other people into your foolishness. Sometimes you got to hold it full and know what you got going on, and then You just stick to what you got going. I'm not finna bring nobody else into my foolishness, man. That's crazy.
My first day of start until now, my weight dropped like more than 20 pounds. I just could not eat and sleep.
But then Eugene got amazing news.
FBI agent in charge of my case, they traced the money and they tracked down the money and they find the money.
The Justice Department is now working to return Eugene and John some of their money.
We're really looking forward to working with victims to try to get them their funds back.
Authorities say the chances of that happening improve if victims report it right away.
What's your message to a victim?
That's good. They got people out here working for the greater good for stuff like that. Because, people go into this stuff wholeheartedly, honestly, and don't know you're being played the whole time. And that's why, you really got to watch for a lot of this stuff going on. Or don't even get into it at all, at least until, you got some kind of laws and regulations going on to where you can kind of trust it a little more. Because this stuff, man, it's crazy.
Who feels so embarrassed by this, they don't want to tell anyone.
You're not alone. There are hundreds and thousands of you out there. You might think, how could I have fallen victim to this? But we've seen it happen again and again.
It's a reminder of the age-old truism.
If an investment sounds too good to be true, it probably is.
All right, Ken Delaney joins us tonight from Washington. Ken, I have a couple questions for you. I want to start with this pig butchering process, that process where the scammers, quote, unquote, fatten up the victim by taking more of their money. Is this done over a long period of time?
Yes, this is a long con, Tom. Typically, it begins with someone reaching out over social media, often an attractive potential romance partner. The new friend will slowly introduce the victim to what seems like an amazing investment opportunity in cryptocurrency. And usually the target starts small, and they're allowed to withdraw some of their earnings at first. And that convinces them that this investment is real and they should send more money. And often these victims are picked because they're at a vulnerable time in their lives, having gone through like a death or a divorce. And the scammers use fake websites made to look like real cryptocurrency platforms. The victims usually believe for months that they've made a fortune until the day they realize they can't get access to their money.
And Ken, in the report you mentioned these scams start overseas. Sometimes when that happens, right, there's a language barrier or a tell. Something is written in a strange manner. Usually it tells the person who's being scammed, wait a minute, this is strange. Is this more sophisticated? Are they getting the language part right, and then from there they're off to the races?
It's a little of both, Tom. We're told that sometimes the pitches are crude because the scammers are using language translation programs, because some of the people making these pitches are themselves being forced to do it by an organized criminal gang, and that can be a tell. But sometimes the victims are immigrants whose first language is not English, as was the case with the two people we interviewed, so they may not detect those grammar mistakes, and other times the scammers are very sophisticated and speak English perfectly. When you think about the enormous sums of money they're stealing here, they have a lot of resources to bring to bear. The bottom line here is that if you want to invest in crypto, you should not do it through someone you met online, Tom.
And that's big facts. And we're going to leave it right there. Make sure if you do something, do your own research. Like I say, we ain't no financial advice channel. We ain't going to tell you what to put your money into, because we don't rock like that. But I'm going to just say, walk with caution at every turn. It ain't about being scary, it's about being smart, we all take L's in life, but if you like me, I know you tired of taking them, so, you gotta move wiser, you gotta move smarter, So, I'm gonna leave it like that. Y'all stay blessed. Peace.